anything.
JV team last year. JV team.
Occasionally, Mr. Linton sometimes sends me a text or something if we're not on or the microphones aren't on, but if we're having anyone speak tonight, we actually ask you to go to the microphone. So, turn it over to Mrs. Ising, we're ready to go.
All right, I'd like to call to order the Superintendent's Information/Committee meeting of Monday, August 10th, 2020. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Lego, roll call.
Yes, Madam President. Mrs. Ising.
I'm here.
Mr. Kachasik.
Here.
Dr. Koshko. Here. Mr. Bill Leonard is absent. Mr. Dallas Leonard.
Here.
Mr. Matarazzo.
Here.
Mr. Nemec.
Here.
Mr. Petrucci. Here. And Mr. Stovar is absent, but you have a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I
Told you,
got
Mr.
the
Lego.
vote, yeah.
I'm the president. Okay. All right, special reports. Is anybody doing the IU report for Mr. Leonard? Okay. All right, Mr. Petrucci.
As you know, and of course, we haven't had any school sessions like everybody else since the middle of March. But Brad Elwood, our executive director, he retired June 12th. And Eric Westendorf, who was our assistant executive director, he took a job administrator in the city of Pittsburgh schools. And we have a high school, we had a principal left, and Rich Sayar anyway. Rich is, he didn't apply for the executive director's job, but we interviewed 3 finalists last Thursday, the 5th. And we have a candidate. We're offering salary, we discussed the salary, and on August 19th, we're going to hire our new executive director. Those are our plans, and I think it's gonna. He's a young fella and full of energy, and I'll give you more specifics in our next meeting first meeting in September. Give you more information on him.
Nick,
But
I'm
on
glad to
19th,
hear
we're
that
gonna hire.
because he's walking in, or he or she's walking. You said a he?
Pardon me?
They're walking into a gold mine.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I told you that place down there is beautiful.
Yeah.
We have great departments. We have great classes. The kids are wonderful. They have a lot of opportunities. So I'm really glad that we have someone to come in
No,
there.
yeah, we got PSBA involved. Our president, Robin Savage, she wanted to go way PSBA because Greensburg Stadium does everything through PSBA. But this young fellow's so local, I don't know if we had to do it or not. But it worked out, and it looks like it's going to work out very well. And I'll discuss it more. Well, by the way, when are our meetings in September, Matt?
For their school board meeting or
Yeah.
for the career tech?
Information, and I know where Career Tech is. When's information for us? We meeting at
I think it's that Tuesday and then Monday, the following Labor Day.
September 1st then?
No,
No, it's the 8th,
8th and the 14th?
8th and 14th.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was wondering, okay. Thank you. That's all, Madam President.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Petrucci. All right, prior to this meeting at 5 o'clock, we had an executive session where we discussed litigation and got advice from our attorney. We also discussed school safety and security. All right, at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Harris for
Thank
some
you.
information.
First, I'm going to start off with my new teachers, and due to size limits, they're going to come. I'm going to introduce them, and then they're going to leave, and because we have 7 new hires this year, so our enrollment has expanded. We are growing. We had 3 retirements last year, so that takes care of like 3 of them. We had some additional staff we had to add due to enrollment and some special ed classes we added. So first, I'm going to introduce Sarah Watt. Sarah, if you can come to the. Sarah's going to be teaching 4th grade at Sunrise Elementary School. Sarah, how long did you work as a student learning assistant?
2.5 years, but I've been in the district now it'll be 5 years in January.
Okay, and prior to coming here, you worked in Woodland Hills?
Yeah, I had 10 years at Woodland Hills.
Okay, a lot of experience. What are you most excited about this year?
Having my own students. just those words, my kids, you know, I really missed that. So when Dr. Coiner finally sent me the roster today, I got really excited and it made my day. Just excited to have 19 of my own.
And we're excited you're there. Sunrise was one of the buildings. We actually added 2 teachers this year because there was 63 new students from last year. So the enrollment down in that area is really growing. And next year I see the needs we're probably going to have to do with 2nd grade teacher and a 5th grade teacher as well because of the size is coming up in the population. So it's really expanding. So I'm glad that you're one of them.
Thank you
work
so
very
much.
hard, and I appreciate all that you do.
Thank you. I
We
really
do
enjoy
have
being
an
part
extra-
of this district.
Yes, we had an extra PT mask left over, so I want to make sure all my new teachers got a mask. Remember the year that you started school with.
You know, first for everything. Thank you.
Thank you, and I understand you have to leave because we have to make room for new people coming.
Good luck.
Thank you. Next, we have Megan Coleman. Megan's going to be teaching 2nd grade at McCullough Elementary School. Megan, how many years have you been an SLA?
I was an SLA at McCullough for 4 years, but in the district for 5.
Okay. And then prior to that, did you have other experience or just substituting?
I taught in Pittsburgh Public for 3 years at 2 different schools, and then I did a long-term in Woodland Hills at the same building as Sarah.
Oh, it's a small world. You never know. What's the most exciting thing you're looking forward to at McCullough this year?
Last year as an SLA, I worked with the 1st graders primarily in my position, and this year teaching 2nd grade, I get to have all of them. So I can't wait for them to come into the school and see that I'm actually going to be their teacher all day, and hopefully they're excited.
Parents will be happy too, because I know when we first started the summer, we had 3 teachers, and then students kept coming, and like the numbers never shifted. So we definitely needed 4th. So Megan was actually added this past month. We added that position because we do want to keep the sizes down on a typical year, but even this year especially. So I'm glad you're there, and I'm glad
Thank
your
you.
students are going to be excited to have you. And did you see your list today?
I did.
Okay. How many do you have?
I have 20.
20. Okay. It even grew since you was hired because at one point there was 78. So now there's 78 times 4. Maybe someone has 19 too, so I don't know. I just thought about that. I was thinking maybe there's 80 now, but you're right. It could be 20, 20, 19, 19. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I also have your welcome PT mask.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Next, Felicia Prager. And Felicia, how long have you been working she's actually hired as one of our special ed teachers at McCullough Elementary School. And how long have you worked for the district as a SLA?
I've been an SLA for 2 years,
Okay.
and I subbed the year prior to that.
So you're probably in the district, how many years? Maybe
3 years.
3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hey, that's great. And then you're staying in McCullough, which was nice. And that's the nice thing
Yes.
about your position because you're going to have some familiarity with the kids in the building and plus all the different training. And I think your mentor is with you in the audience tonight, isn't she? Is it Novacell? It's hard to tell with the mask on, plus my glasses are foggy. But I think that's Janice back there. Yeah. So what are you looking forward to this year?
I'm excited for the challenge. I think that this year is going to bring on a lot of challenges, especially for students with disabilities. So I'm excited to see what it throws at me and how I handle it. And actually having my own kids, too.
Well, you worked very hard, and I appreciate all that you do, so I'm very glad to have you as a teacher in our district, and I hope you're here 35 years from now.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
All right, here, I got a mask for you as well.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you for coming. All right,
She already
next.
has a PT Proud mask.
She does. I know they got those when they did McCullough. How many students came that day when you had the McCullough parade? Probably the whole entire building. I mean, it was
So many. It was a huge success that day.
it was amazing. But they all wore the PT Proud mask that day when they had their parade, and they even gave me one, which was nice.
Yeah, they're super nice, too.
right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Nicholas Golden, and Nick's going to be our new PE teacher at the high school. He's replacing Mr. Martini. Nick, I know you came from Charleroi for 5 years?
Yep,
And you taught a year in Virginia?
I did.
All right, so what are you looking forward to this year?
Working with other people in the department. I'm coming from a high school where I was the only phys ed teacher, and so it'll be nice to collaborate with other teachers and work with different students in a new big school, you know, coming from a little school where we graduated 90 kids per class to a larger district, and I'm looking forward to the challenge that everything that comes this year with COVID and everything else at the new school. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity. I appreciate it.
That is wonderful. And most of your classes are in the weight room the first semester,
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yep. So a lot of sanitizing and a lot of adapted activity to make sure we keep the kids all safe and healthy and physically active.
We do teaching lessons, and his lesson, during that 20 minutes, I mean, he had flexible grouping. He brought in extra materials outside the things. He had music. He even had sanitizer at the beginning and at the end of his 20-minute lesson. I mean, it was the full package, and that 20 minutes went by that, and the kids loved it.
Yep.
So you bring that energy with you every day, and
Absolutely.
you can have a great career at PT. Are you considering other sports as well to coach, you said?
Currently, I coach football at Bentworth School District. I just resigned from South Fayette School District I was the head wrestling coach there. The commute wouldn't be feasible for me to go from there to South Fayette. So potentially I would love to come aboard here for wrestling if that position would come available. And I do coach track as well too, which I coached at Charleroi.
Well, it seems like we always need coaching positions.
Yep.
I have a question.
Ask away, sir.
You said Charleroi?
Yes, sir.
They still got that big, beautiful facility for gymnasium there? Is that part of the school?
The high school gymnasium?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's separate from the high school.
Yeah.
And then they also have an additional auxiliary gym and stadium too.
Beautiful building.
Yeah, very nice facility. I was very blessed to teach there.
We had a playoff game down there, and that thing was so impressive. I mean,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It was built by the some union. Iron workers are still.
Yeah. I would say like in the late 50s, 60s that was built, and they renovated, but it's an awesome gymnasium.
Did you use that for your instruction? Or not?
Absolutely, yep.
It was beautiful. Okay.
Yep.
Wow, everybody should experience that place. That was really nice.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
All right, guys, thank you
Really
for having me
appreciate
and
it.
the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Next, we have Kim Zombach. Kim, she's going to be teaching 5th grade reading at Trafford Elementary School. Last year, we only had 1 5th grade.
Yes.
And this year, with the enrollment increase too, we needed 2. It went from, I think, 20 kids to 42. Is that how many you have, about 40?
Something around there, yeah.
Okay. But Kim, how long have you been an SLA for Penn Trafford, or worked in Penn Trafford?
Well, I student taught in 2012, and then I graduated in December of 2012, and I've been here ever since. So I was long-term, all different positions, and then I was an SLA for 2 years, so.
So longevity, paid
Yeah.
off.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, Kim's always done a nice job for us. The people and the staff at Trafford love her. She does a very good job and volunteers for everything we've had to offer extra, and she does a lot for the school. So I'm glad you stuck with us, and I'm glad it paid off.
Thank you, I'm excited.
So what are you looking forward to most this year?
Probably seeing the kids. This group especially, I had them in kindergarten. I was a long-term sub in kindergarten, and I had them in 1st grade again. I was a long-term sub in 1st grade, so seeing this class again will be really nice. It'll be nice to see them again, so.
It's great, a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm excited though.
I know, that's what I taught. I taught 4th and 5th grade, loved it.
Yeah. It's a great
Absolutely
age.
loved it.
Yeah.
So I wish you the best, and I hope long career at Penn Trafford.
Thank you. Oh,
And of course, PT Max. All right, good luck. Thank you. I think we have 2 more. Hi, how are you doing? Very good. And we have Sierra Lewis. Yes, you are.
Sorry.
Sierra's going to be at Trafford Middle School, and she's going to be teaching English language arts. And Sarah came to us last year. It was the first year we had a fellow program in Penn Trafford, and Sarah did such a Sierra did such a great job that she actually got hired full-time this year, right from St. Vincent. So how are you feeling?
I'm excited. I'm so thankful for this opportunity, and I just can't wait to start the year.
Did you see your class list today?
I was in the process of getting it before I came here because I was at the middle school all day today.
Oh my, hey, getting prepared.
Absolutely.
That is exciting. You're always going to remember your first year of teaching. You always will. I mean, it's always, no matter what, and sometimes those kids are going to have a special place in your heart because they're always going to be your first group of kids too. But you always will remember that. Not that every other group will be special, but there's just something about that year. It's kind of, you know, extra magical because there's your first time. Because I know a lot of times you either play school when you're going through the process, or you're getting prepared, and you're student teaching, or you're subbing, and you're working. But there's something about when you finally make it, and then these are your kids, and it's nice. So I'm really glad for you to have that opportunity.
Thank you. I'm happy as well.
All right, and I got you a Penn Trafford mask to add to your collection. May you always have, thank you, may you always have that excitement. We did one thing to note, we did a TDA response as part of the testing. Perfect score on the TDA.
Very good.
So,
That's good to hear.
thank you. And actually, my last one, Ashley Frank. So, Ashley's going to be at the high school. She's going to be our high school math teacher. And we get Ashley, she's coming from 5 years at Derry. Was it Derry Middle School?
Yeah, Derry Middle School, 7th grade.
Yes, and the best thing about Ashley is she lives down the street.
I do. I'm 1.1 miles away, so it's a very short drive. I'm really excited to get started, and I was actually in this morning, so.
Now, what classes did you end up having on your roster? I don't know if you got a chance to look at Power School. Or...
teaching honors pre-calc and Keystone Algebra 2. So I'm very excited to get started. So looking at some curriculum, you know, mapping out today. So I'm very excited.
We have a lot of good kids at the high school. And then with the honors classes you're teaching, I think that's fantastic. Now, is your class dual enrollment as well?
It is, yeah, and I signed up for that.
Perfect, which means her kids will also get college credit. So when they take her course, not only do they get credit here, they also get credit at a university, which is which one?
3 C's.
3 C's. So, and it's good. My son, I know when I always stress it to all high school seniors to take them if they can. My son walked out with 27 credits. So,
Wow.
But at the time, that was considered a lot more. But now it's some of these kids can probably go out with a lot more than that. Tony's son was one of the first ones, and back in the day, how many did he get?
Well, one of my kids had 14, one of them had 11. The youngest one, I think, had, 8. But that was considered a lot at that time. That was mid-2000s.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome that, you know, there's so many opportunities for the kids here. So I'm very excited about that.
We keep growing, we keep pushing, we keep trying to make whatever we can find for the kids to give them something extra. And so thank you for coming to teach that course. And you just saved probably about 40 minutes. How much did you save in driving a day?
It's 5 minutes. It's 1.1 miles.
So now you can never be late.
I'll never be late.
There's no makeup time in 1.1
yeah,
miles.
snow will not be a factor anymore. It doesn't matter.
All right. Well, congratulations. We do have a welcome PT mask for you.
Thank you.
Our students are very lucky. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you,
good
everyone.
evening. All right. So that's our staff. So we're gonna have, it's gonna be an interesting year, so I'm glad they got a chance to come in person. One of the things we're gonna do is we are gonna have to improve our health and safety plan because we did make some different changes back in July. Once we've got our plan approved in June, several days afterwards, the state mandate came and they made different changes. So we had to add extra information on the mask update, as well as they gave us information on assessment and monitoring. I am going to turn this over to Mr. Ingles, because he's actually been our pandemic coordinator, to kind of review the different changes and things we're adding to the health and safety plan, which we have to, every time there's updates or changes, you actually have to have a board approved as well. That's why we're doing it again. So yes, we did it in June, but it's required any changes, and we send it to the state.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, the health and safety plan is a fluid document, and it was It will likely be updated again in September, is my guess, as things change and as the situation changes, and as the state issues different mandates and direction to us, we have to continually update and make changes. So just be aware that it will continue to change. But the key revisions to the plan right now are, first, anything in red that is in the plan is new and revised. So the first area is the monitoring and of staff and symptoms and history. One of the questions we get quite often from parents and teachers and community is, what are you going to do when you have a positive case of COVID or a kid or a teacher? Well, we don't have a cookie cutter answer for those questions because every situation is different, depending on the student, depending on their situation, where they were, who they were in contact, and all their symptoms, things like that dictate what will be done. But as a general rule, when you look through the plan, it's going to refer the school district to the Department of Health. So whenever there is a concern, when somebody brings us something, we will take the information and assess it the best we can, and then from the information given to us, we will contact the Department of Health to make decisions on what happens. They will tell us what to do. It may be closing a classroom, quarantining certain kids, closing a building. I don't know what they will tell us, but they have a flow chart and a system they go through, and we will follow all of the directions from the Department of Health. And it goes both ways. So whenever they have information and they know that somebody has tested positive, they will notify us as well. So that's the process for symptoms and monitoring. So we will go through that with the Department of Health and make sure all of those guidelines are followed. We're also doing a symptom assessment tool. The nurses have developed this. So there's a screening tool that's in the document that we sent out to the parents. So everybody could have seen it or should have seen it in the last survey that we sent out. So there's a self-assessment that all students and staff will do each morning so that they are not coming to school with symptoms or a fever or anything like that. So there's a flow chart that they will go in and do a self-assessment to make sure that when students and staff are coming to the building, they're coming in safe. So if they are symptomatic or have any of those kind of indications, we want them to stay at home. So, you know, we're going to be very, very proactive in making sure that we err on the side of safety. If there's ever a concern, you know, we want kids and staff to stay home if there are symptoms. We don't want people coming to school, and we reflected that in the health and safety plan as well regarding our attendance. So we do expect our attendance to take a hit this year, kids and staff. We understand that there will be times when we will have a lot of absenteeism, but we're going to have to get through this year the best we can based on the situation. The second huge change in the plan is regarding face coverings. On July 1st, the governor, Secretary of Health, issued an order requiring all face coverings. So we are requiring face coverings for all students in the school. It is a mandate. It's not something that we can just say, you know what, we're not going to enforce that. That's okay. We have to do that. There are some provisions that provide an exemption to that. So when the student, as an example, when the students are in school and they're able to maintain a 6-foot distance between one another, you do not need to wear a mask in those situations. But I will tell you that doesn't happen very often because we are bringing back our kids. All the kids are coming to school 100%. We do have a number of kids who are opting to stay at home, but still we're not able to maintain 6-foot distance in most cases, so the kids will have the mask on most of the time. We will, excuse me, we will provide some breaks and times where they can take it off. We understand you can't wear a mask for 7-8 straight hours, so we'll provide some different breaks throughout the school day in each level. We need every kid to wear a mask. You can't have somebody that's going to refuse it. If you refuse to wear a mask, we'll ask you to put it on. If you don't put the mask on, we will send the students home if they do not comply. Same thing with the school bus. As they come onto the school bus, we want every student to have a mask on the bus. They won't be permitted to enter onto the bus if they don't have a mask on. There are some other provisions for exceptions for wearing masks, and they're under the IDEA. You know, if there is a documented case where a student has a medical disability where they are unable to wear a mask, that would need to be documented, and we're asking the parents to do that in advance. They let us know so that we can go through a process of getting a 504 plan in place. Now, we understand there's some kids that they can't wear a mask because of medical reasons, and that's fine. But we have to have it documented through a 504 plan or within their IEP. in order to make that happen. And we want that in advance so that we can have time to develop that plan and get that in place, so all the teachers and staff and bus drivers know this child is exempt from the mask. And we'll have to put provisions in place for the other kids who are around them to make sure that they're safe. So we'll have to have some things in the plan to make sure everybody else is safe as well. One thing to consider, we're all wearing masks. I took mine off so I can speak here, so I apologize. But we want to make sure that you have a mask. And another safe alternative is to have a face shield. We bought face shields for all of our staff. I think, Jim, don't you have one over there? Yeah, so there's an example of one. They're relatively inexpensive, only $1 or $2. So all of our teachers will have those if they want to wear them. They're nice to have for facial expressions, and you can breathe a little better in them as well. And some people may want to wear a mask and the shield for double protection, which is fine as well. But in a situation where a child cannot breathe, a face shield is an acceptable alternative. So just want to put that out there to make sure everybody understands that.
And just to emphasize what Mr. Glaze is saying with the mask, the way for the school district to come back as we are, completely open, is if we wear the mask. If we cannot adhere to that, if we cannot do that, we cannot keep it open in full. We would have to come up with a different solution because we cannot guarantee 6 feet. So we have to wear the mask in the school with the percentage of kids who are coming back. We do have 82% of our students who are responded that they are coming back. We have about the 18 other percent would be either doing it online or through E-Academy. So 82% are coming back. So to emphasize it, we have to ensure that that mask rules is being followed in place in order to have the students come back, because we cannot guarantee the 6 feet. So you have to wear the mask. And we just want to make that clear to everyone from day one, so they know prior that they have to, because we cannot fulfill the requirement of the 6 feet rule for that. But the 18% not coming back, some of the parents for the 82% did ask me to clarify that they would prefer an alternative approach, because it's not that they're supporting it, that they just would prefer, some of them would prefer either a hybrid or something else. But in their survey to me, or they sent me an email, they said, I just want you to be clear that even though I'm coming back, I still don't support the plan. So I don't want to say that 82 completely support it. I would probably say 70% completely support the plan, and there's probably about maybe 5 to 10% who would prefer a hybrid, but that's not really being offered, so they are coming back. And I did feel that's important to say, because when parents are submitting their comments on the forums or sending me a personal email, I do want to have their messages heard. So although I'm saying 82 is coming back, it doesn't mean that 82% completely support the plan. I just wanted to mention that to them, because I think it's important to represent those parents as well. Scott?
Yeah, I think that covers most of the changes. Just to reiterate, we will be sending out a letter to parents this week regarding the face covering guidelines and what you would need to do to have an exemption under a medical 504 plan. So that is in place. And also just a reminder to the parents and the community, we are planning on returning to school as normal. We start school on the 27th of August, so that schedule is still there. We are coming back in full with as many safety precautions as possible. We do want to tell you, though, that if the pandemic gets worse, we are certainly going to reevaluate our plan and make changes as necessary to the instructional plan if we need to, as well as the health and safety plan. So this isn't a plan that is etched in stone and it's going to be in place for 180 days. If we need to make adjustments and change the instructional plan to our health and safety plan, we will do so, just so everybody understands that. Is there any questions or clarification on the plan that we need to address? Okay, we are going to ask the board to approve that this evening. And this will be posted to the website tomorrow, so that everybody has it in their possession. Everybody can review it.
And Scott, thanks for addressing the assessment and monitoring, because that's the other question we seem to get a lot of, just the people wanting to know exactly what happens. But as he said, we will make the contacts and they would tell us what happens case by case. So there's not a clear answer now, but we will follow no matter what they tell us. So glad you emphasized that. In addition to the safety plan, we talked about the numbers of the percent that's coming back. In addition, the schools each sent out their information per building about how they're opening. For example, every elementary school, middle school, or high school sent out information to the parents in the buildings about what they're doing to implement the safety plan. The bus information should be coming out this Friday. We did work with the numbers to make sure, and that's another reason we have to wear the buses. We start off with 2 in the seats. We have about 18% of our students not returning. We left them in there in case they come back. And we also have 17% of our parents who are choosing not to ride the bus. I had additional 30% respond that they're gonna try to do it sometimes, but it wasn't guaranteed. We left the students on there, so it's gonna be less than 48, but we can't guarantee what the exact number is. So that is another reason why the students are wearing the mask on the bus.
Dr. Harris, if
Yes.
a parent wanted to, or guardian wanted to bring their student to school, how would they go about making that so?
For driving their own child, we've done that for years. You can just, there's a plan at every school with just the stop sign, like where the kids get dropped off and where they get picked up at.
So they're to contact their immediate school principal?
They can contact the school principal, or they can actually just send a note into their teacher that they plan on being a car rider for the year.
Okay. We'll make sure it's clear that the parents have, or guardian have an option to bring their own children to school.
They do, and we are also working with, I know some of our schools are trying to improve the process because we have a lot more cars coming, and Penn Middle being one of them. And if you're a Penn Middle parent, is anyone a Penn Middle parent out there? Couple? You know that the car line is pretty long. Sometimes it stretches the whole way down. So we are gonna try to put in some different things in place to improve in that process. Because on a typical day, it's pretty bad, but this year it's even increased. So be prepared for lines out there.
Dr. Harris?
Yes.
Might also mention our parents about how important it is for each student has to bring their own water bottle. The water fountains will not be working. And so it's so important for these kids to be able to hydrate, so making sure they all have their own water bottle.
Open house information will be coming out from the individual schools. Everything is done virtual, just due to the new regulations. The computer Chromebook and Family ID, that's been sent out, so the parents should have already had that information. Next, I'm going to switch over to Mr. Hetrick. He's going to address some of the athletic changes, because that's been in the news a lot lately as well. Mr. Hetrick?
Thank you, Dr. Harris. Back on June 22nd, we met and we were at the school board meeting, and we had an athletics return to play plan approved. That was permissible prior to the school launching its own return to school plan. With that being said, there were 3 phases added into the return to play plan. Now, keep in mind that everything we do right now is voluntary and out of season. Our season that was to begin next Monday, which was the 10th for football, and the following week for all the other high school teams on the 17th, as you saw in the news last week, was delayed 2 weeks. With that being said, we've been in action over the last week or so, continuing to redo our schedules and update everything. Our website, which is ptwarriors.org, is updated daily, and it contains all the current information and anything that I'm going to discuss or bring up here tonight. Part of our initial return to process had 3 phases. They originally started out in smaller groups, and as time went on, pending no problems, which we have not had, the groups are able to advance. Now, keep in mind that with contact sports, as they all are now beyond and in their 3rd phase, when the students are actively involved, they are not social distancing and they are not wearing masks. That is in the plan, and that was also approved by our health team as well as Dr. Wong and our nurses. And it was decided that at that point, when they are actively participating, those students do not wear masks. However, when they are on the sidelines, they're not participating, and they're not active, the coaches, the students, everybody involved, if they are unable to social distance, they do have to wear a mask, and that is part of the plan. With that being said, our other plan also contains some items such as a 2-week quarantine for anybody that was in a hot spot that was listed by the state of Pennsylvania, or the other option was to have a test after returning 5 days later and then present the results to our staff. Effective, if approved by the board tonight, the athletic committee, which was made up of obviously myself, Dr. Wong, our school physician, Nurse Popovich, Jen Smith and Lauren Germanowski are our trainers from Excella, and also with the input from Excella, as well as a group of 5 veteran coaches that I've had here for, these people have been here with me for over 10 years, of John Ruane, Cindy Dutt, Dave Babick, Jim Shaw, and Christy Lynn. We've worked over and over and hours to develop these plans. And with that being said, we have a plan that we're presenting tonight that effective, if board approved, will fall currently in line with the plan that Mr. Ingles presented earlier, so that all the athletic teams, in addition to fulfilling all their other requirements, will fall into direct line with the school plan that was presented this evening. Working with my colleagues, we've developed a great plan for how we feel we can make this a safe environment and provide the opportunity for our student athletes to have a chance to play right now. I'm very proud of our students, coaches, parents, and staff for being leaders in their sports and in our community with all the time and effort that's been put into this. And we will continue to follow all health and safety guidelines and teach and train and coach all these student athletes. And we ask that everybody, from the parents at home, which we are doing daily checks when these children report daily. We're utilizing Google Classroom. They have to go in every day and fill out through their Google Classroom a form that asks them of all or any symptoms that they may have. If any of them are flagged for any symptoms, they are immediately pulled at that time, and their parents are called to verify if it's just, I'll be honest, we've had some different things or some instances where some kids have just been nervous, or, you know, we've had cheerleading tryouts and maybe they were a little uptight about being there, but in the end, everything's been very positive. And as I said, we need it all to start at home with the parents to make sure that they are doing their due diligence as well and making sure that their child is capable and able to attend that day. And we're asking them to check their children before they send them. When they come for the first week of practice, we will go back to all of our coaches have the thermometers that are non-touch. For the first week, we will continue to do temperature checks. And throughout the season, until further notice, we will continue to do the daily Google forms where children are asked every day if they have or have had any symptoms. From that point, as I said, as Mr. Ingles referred to, if we come across something where we run into it, we will fall under the same plan that the school does, and that's why we're aligning here today, and that's the process that will happen if we hit a roadblock with a student athlete under our return to play plan. So with that being said, I do have a copy of this, and I would ask tonight that in addition that you will consider approving that to move forward. We have every intention, as long as we have the ability to continue to play. As I said, right now, our teams are voluntarily working out until we get to the 24th. If something changes with the PIAA, then just as Mr. Ingles said, with anything else, we have to go back to the drawing board and at that time reconsider what our options are. But for right now, we will continue to have off-season workouts with every intent right now to resume and start officially practicing on the 24th, barring any unforeseen changes or circumstances. If something comes up, we will have to change, and as Mr. Ingles referred to, we'll have to come back to you and work together and build from that point. So, do I have any questions on my end?
Can you share the no spectator rule if we do have sports?
Yes. As of right now, in Westmoreland County, outdoors are 250. That means everybody on the field, from coaches, players, officials, staff, workers, whatever the case, that is counted right now. Now, the indoor thing is a little different. It's actually 25. So, for example, right now, we have, and I'm going to tell you while I'm in this area, our fall sports signups are well over 900 from grades 7 through 12. Our numbers are outstanding. With that being said, anything indoor, and right now it's only volleyball, because there are 40-some participants, we have to utilize 2 areas because we have to split them to keep them under 25 in both areas. So indoors is still 25, outdoors is 250. My hope and thoughts with all this are that if we get to the point where we can actually play, because everything has already been pushed back to where any of those sports outside of golf or tennis do not start until the second week of September. That's over a month away. I hope more than anything, if we get to that point, that we are able to include more people. And whatever the guidelines are, that's what we will follow. But as of right now, if nothing changes, that's where we were at 250 and 25 indoors. And I believe, and Christina, you could probably answer, Allegheny County is actually still at 50 outdoors. So that too would have to change, hopefully, because we do play teams that are in Allegheny County. I'm not quite sure how we would play a football game under those circumstances.
Just to follow up with what Mr. Hetrick is saying, we know that there's a 25 rule and a 250. Those numbers are thrown out. And we know that this room right now in this meeting, we can only have 25 people here. But just to clarify, the state, the rules and regulations are different for an in-school setting. So in school, during the school day, those guidelines we do not need to follow them during the school day. So yes, we do have a class. We may have a class with 26 kids. We may have the cafeteria where there's obviously going to be more than 25 students. So there are situations during the school day where we are exceeding those numbers, and the state allows that to happen in a school setting versus a setting that's outside the school day or in business and industry.
Yes,
I said that right?
you did.
Okay.
Any movement at all, allowing parents to attend any of these, the games?
Well, that's what I was saying. As of right now, no, Nick, but we're a month out. And I honestly hope and believe that if we get to a point in a month where we can play, that will change. Now, that's my hope and belief, but that doesn't mean it will. If nothing changes right now, it would only be like what you're seeing on TV. It would be the teams inside and the officials, and that would be the extent of it. Now, I will throw this out, and I hope it doesn't come to there, but we're fortunate enough working with Dr. Harris last year. We joined in the NFHS, which is called Pixelot. And if anybody can recall going back to last year, we launched it for free to everybody to show what we had the capability of doing here. What we have is the ability to live stream any event that's in our stadium or in our main gymnasium. Anything whatsoever that goes on in the stadium or in the main gym, we will be able to live stream. So in addition, if we are fortunate enough to put people in the stands and we're limited, once we decide how we're going to determine who those people are, which I would think the first people we would include will be the parents, beyond there, we will be able to live stream every game from JV, varsity, 9th grade, middle school, whatever we hold in that stadium, we'll be able to live stream. And you'll be able to connect directly from our website. Now, there will be a fee to it. There is a fee to watch the games. We get a small percentage of each one where we will make money or try and recoup some revenue or the ads that we sell. We would get 100% of the ads we sell. With the fact that we're facing losing revenue from 5 home football games. 5 home football games pays for every other sport in this district to operate for the whole year for officials. We spend upwards of $50,000 to $60,000 a year on officials for grades from teams from 7 through 12. And that money and that revenue is what pays for that on a yearly basis. So we're really going to be in a bind if we get to the point where we can't recoup any of this. So there's a lot of things to take into account. But rest assured, we're going to hope and be positive that by the time we get to mid-September that we will be able to have people in. And we'll also be able to have a band and cheerleaders, and I hope that it can turn that way, but I can't assure or know for sure anything that's going to happen with that
Well,
rate.
that decision made by the PIA, I guess, correct?
I think that decision would come from the governor, and then the PIAA would comply with that.
Is that live streaming service the same thing that the High School Musical did?
No, it is not. It is through the NFHS, which is the governing body of all National Federation of High School Sports across the
Okay.
United States. And everything, as I said, we're very adamant about keeping our website up to date at ptwarriors.org, and everything can be found there. We get to the point, everything obviously, just like right now with sign-ups, there'll be links and information that you can get to right from our website at that time. Thank you, Dr. Harris.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Two more updates. McCullough's roof, actually, is that finished this week, Brad?
That should wrap up this week, yes, Dr. Harris.
Okay, that was exciting. I'm glad we got that done this summer. And we also got the switch gears done at Harrison Park and Penn Middle School. So those are a couple of our bigger summer projects that we were doing. And just to remind people that, and it kind of happened last year when we were off, we did finish all the rooms that have air conditioning, and we did a total light upgrade. So it's the window units, K-8, of course Central's always been at the high school. That is complete, so every classroom does have an air conditioner, and every school building, all the lights were upgraded as well. The air conditioning was kind of a bonus when we did the light upgrades to make them more energy efficient. It actually freed up circuits. So for years, we did not have enough circuits in the building because the actual cost of extra air conditioning wasn't that big of an expense. We would have loved to have had it, but we just couldn't have circuits. So once we did the energy project, it actually freed up circuits, and it let us go through every single building and add air conditioning. So we are going to start the school year off with the air conditioning and the light upgrades. And probably would have been more exciting last year when it was done if we had students here, but it was nice that we did finish that, and that was probably the end of April it was done. And that is all I have at this time.
All right, great, thank you. At this time, it's time for recognition of visitors. We do have two people who signed up to speak. You must state your name, address, and group affiliation, if any. Your statement will be limited to 5 minutes in duration. All statements must be directed to the president, and no participant may address or question a board member individually. You may be interrupted if your statement is too lengthy, personally direct, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. Okay, first on the list is Barbara Cease. Sorry if I mispronounced your
No,
name.
you're good. It's Barbara Cease. My address is 109 Watt Road, Jeanette, and I'm just a concerned parent at the particular time. I had sent an email to Dr. Harris this morning. I had spoken to our principal, Mr. Mastriani, or I'm sorry, Mr. Morasti. And he filled me in on a lot of things that were going on, but it just didn't sit too well with me. So I was talking to some other parents, things like that, and it wasn't sitting well with them either. So then the email that I had sent to Dr. Harris today, it's kind of funny because Mr. Ingles actually touched on several things. But it's not making sense to us parents. I would love to send our son back to school. He wants to come back to school. He's completely bored, which for a 10-year-old is not normal to even want to come back to school. But I wanted you guys to understand where some of us parents are coming from that I've talked to, that we all want our kids to come back to school, but we would also like maybe if there's some way that we could stagger it to have that 6-foot distancing. Because when I spoke to the principal, he said that, lunchroom was going to be 150 people in that lunchroom. That kind of scared me a little bit due to the fact that even though things are a little bit different outside of the school, you go out to a restaurant, they're 25% capacity, but yet you're going to put 150 kids in one schoolroom to eat lunch. I had questioned about going outdoors for lunch, and he said, unfortunately, that couldn't be done because of the teachers. They had to eat lunch, things like that. I just, like I said, I'm just to the point that I'm just trying to help everybody else. I'm not here to stir up any commotion or anything like that. But, you know, us parents would like our kids to come back, but we just think that, you know, if we could split the day up, I know that that causes a lot of problems for a lot of parents because, you know, they send their kids to school to have a babysitter sometimes. To me, it doesn't matter if he stays home or he goes to school. I'd rather him go to school for that interaction. But like I said, it's just not, you know, it's just not making sense to keep all the kids in one class, you know, or in one lunchroom per se, you know, only 3 foot apart. I just, like I said, it doesn't make sense. And then like the case count keeps going up, but yet prior to all of this, when school was out, you know, from March 13th to the last day of school, you know, the numbers were like 400 and some for that whole time period. Now we're over 1,000 for the last 11 weeks. Like I said, it doesn't make sense to myself and to a lot of the other moms that I've been talking to. So like I said, I just kind of wanted to bring it up to let you know our, you know, take on it and, you know, things like that. Like I wanted, you know, like if we can somehow separate the kids, you know, Norwin's going 2 days a week, off a day, and then hybrid, whatever, 2 days, you know, that would put your 6 foot between kids. You know, I think that's the biggest thing with a lot of the parents is the 6 foot distancing, because then the kids don't have to wear the mask. If they're in school and they have that 3 foot, then they have to wear that mask all day. I'm dying in here from only being in here for an hour. You know, but that's my opinion. I mean, I'm sure it won't go very far.
We
but,
actually had, we had about 121 comments I noticed on that Google survey when we did it about people saying, that they would prefer a hybrid. And I received probably in the last 2 weeks, maybe 60 to 70 different emails from parents asking if we would consider the possibility of a hybrid as well. So you're not the only one. And then even when I said about my 82% at the beginning, I had a lot of parents say they are coming back, but they would prefer a hybrid. That's kind of why I wanted to stress it, because I know they didn't want to, they told me that they didn't really support it, but they wanted to make it known that they're coming back, but they would prefer something different, so. But I did get a lot of parents also who did send us nice emails and saying thank you for coming back as well.
Yeah, like I said, I would love to send my son back, and I'm still up in the air. But, you know, I just wanted to express my concerns, like I said, with some of the other parents that I've talked to. They were all for coming back for the 5 days until I talked to the principal, and there was different things that he said compared to what the health and safety guidelines that came out said. Once he told me that there was only 3 foot distance, and I told these parents, because I think they have a right to know, you know, they were like, oh, I don't know if I want to send my child back. So there's a lot of what ifs out there too.
Yeah, because with the way we're going, that's why I'm definitely emphasizing the mask. With how we're going back, we can't guarantee the 6 feet. That's why we have to do the mask. And that's why I've been pushing it, saying that it has to be worn.
Have we thought about having elementary kids eat in their own classrooms?
Good question.
We did, but there's teacher coverage for the lunches. That was one of the things we had to, and then we were going to have parent volunteers, but one of the things they took away was the outside visitors. We were going to use that.
It seems to me, because that would help that
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah. I mean, even if the teachers ate with the kids, you know, I know they need a break too, but something has to give, you know. I don't know what it is, but like I said, I didn't feel comfortable. I don't go out to dinner. I don't go out to eat. I just don't do it. Not at this point in time. So like I said, putting my son into 150 kids at lunchtime during all of this, that just kind of makes me nervous, and, you know, a lot of the other parents too, so.
How many kids could you fit in the elementary lunchrooms if you cut
lunchroom,
it in half?
Each lunchroom is a little bit different. Because I know like McCall has a little bit of a larger one, whereas Level Green's pretty small.
Could you just just for me?
I could look into it this week.
Can you just look into this again? I appreciate your comments. Can the classrooms in the elementary level usually have less children than the middle and high school? Can those seats be spread out as far as possible? And then what are our options at the lunchtime period?
Or I know that a lot of the have been coming up with spreading out the tables and trying to reduce the numbers in there.
I spoke to Mr. Morassi about his lunchroom situation, and he indicated the 150 number is the max that can fit in McCullough cafeteria. But he said at any given time, like the fourth and fifth graders are in at the same time, there's only about 140 kids. Then if you take the 15 to 20% of the kids not showing up, now you're down to 120, 110. Then if you have a number of kids who just don't come to school, as typically happens, you're probably going to be closer to 100 kids in that cafeteria on any given day.
What's that equate to? How much distance between each child?
He said right now he has a seat for every child, which is, he has a seat here, and another child will be right there, so it's zigzagged. So, and then minus any of those kids who don't show up. I don't know what that would be, though.
So that's how he's planning it? There is some sort
He
of
has to plan
spacing?
for the worst. He has to plan that everybody's going to come, but anything less than that.
I would still look in to see what we can do.
I can do that, and I can send that to the
How do we
board.
cover the teachers to see if there's an option to have these kids eat inside the classroom?
'Cause we have
Or a
lunch
mix of
today.
both eating in the cafeteria and something.
We did look into having the teachers, in the elementary, if there's 25 teachers, then you'd have to have, somebody would have to cover that. That teacher has to have a 30-minute lunch period, so somebody has to watch the kids. So,
Well, we have lunchroom aides in the cafeteria already, right?
right, but there's one for 100, 150 kids,
One.
so,
Oh, just one?
yeah.
Or that seating, is that assigned seating, Mr. English, or random?
The principals have indicated they're doing assigned seating, yes.
Well, you gave us food for thought.
Thank you,
Yes,
I
thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Next week, Dr. Harris, let us know if there are any new ideas,
Yeah.
please.
I
Because
can
I
do
think the concern she has is felt by a lot of parents.
I agree, I think it's
I
very
did have
valid.
a couple other people who emailed me a similar question to the cafeteria, as well as the other one was on the assessment, which I know Mr. Inglese talked about it too.
Okay. Next, we have Aaron Haney.
Hi, thank you. I'm Erin Haney, and I'm in Jeanette at 309 Skyview. I'm here, I'm a parent of an ingoing sixth grader at Penn Middle and also a fourth grader in the Autism Life Skills class. I think, Mr. Glaze, actually, you gave me a little bit of calm when you talked about the face mask. My concern, and I had already talked to Mr. Morass about it, and he was really great at responding to me immediately, was specifically around, my child psychologist had said, well, if your child can't wear a mask because he has special needs, it will not be required. At that moment in time, my brain exploded because I thought, no, we've been practicing all summer. He's prepared to wear a mask. My concern is, how will other parents take that for kids with special needs? And are they practicing with their kids? Because we've done the due diligence for my autistic son to make sure that he's wearing the mask. He didn't like it. Nobody likes it. But he's doing it. He's practicing. He's aware. And I just don't want us to have done all this work for him and have our special needs kids, one or two, the parents saying, oh, no, they can't wear a mask. And maybe they can't. I'm still concerned. How will that be? Will it be an abuse of power? Will, just because they're in the special needs class, do they still have to go through the 504 and all those other particulars, even if they're already on an IEP? I just don't want it to be easy for them not to wear a mask, because I'm concerned of the teachers. You know, my son needs to go back to school because that's where he will learn the best because of his special needs. He did Zoom. His teachers were phenomenal this summer and during the school year. But if they get sick, I'm not only not protecting my kid, we're not protecting our teachers either. And I just want to make sure that all kids, regardless of their need, have to wear a mask or are distanced. You know, maybe even the child wears a face mask, but I'm concerned, what if one of the kids that doesn't have to wear a mask is 10 inches from their teacher learning their speech or their one-on-one classes and learning their daily stuff, and then my kids sit next to the teacher, even though they're both wearing masks, what about the transmission? I just want to make sure that if it's mandated, that even those with special needs are mandated as well, or have to be separated from those that are following the rules. So just some concerns I had.
I will tell you that we have ordered a number of the N95 masks for our life skills teachers because of that situation.
Great.
So we have some special masks for them because we understand they're put in a much more difficult situation than the average teacher. But I agree with you. I think we all agree with you that if a child is able and can wear a mask, they should wear a mask, and we shouldn't just, have an out for them because again, it's a life skill that you
Right.
have to do it whenever you
It's
go
a
to
life, we're all
restaurants,
doing it
and
for a life
You have to
skill.
you have to wear one in the real world, so we really need to promote that as much as possible. But I can't sit here and say that all children were going to be wearing a mask, because that's probably not going to happen, but point well taken.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I am going to hand it over to Mr. Matarazzo for athletics and extracurricular.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. What I'd like to approve the revised 2020-2021 athletic health and safety plan. I'd like to move to approve the revised athletic health and safety plan as presented to the board, and we have someone to second.
Second. Question?
Okay, second by Dr. Costa, question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, no. Motion passed. Motion carried. Thank you. All right, back to you, Dr. Harris, I believe. What are we doing next?
Oh, sure, next week, and I think we still have to improve a couple more things
Yeah, we do,
tonight.
but that's further down.
Yep. All right, next week, under budget and finance, we're gonna ask you,
Athletics and extracurricular.
I'm embarrassed that my glasses have really fogged up.
It's terrible.
I was trying to get them, and I can't see them.
Agreed.
And I'm telling you, my bifocals are blocked by the bottom part of my mask.
All right, next week, we're gonna ask you to deploy the athletic extracurriculars personnel for the 2021 school year.
Shows for everybody on the board.
We're gonna also ask you to approve the volunteer coaches for the 2020-2021 school year. For budget and finance.
First season, it's the fall season, correct?
Correct, it's for the very first season.
Fall season.
And then next week, we're gonna ask you to approve budget and finance, under budget and finance, to approve the contributions to the area libraries for 2021. Does this need approved tonight, Mr. Leonard?
Yep, now we come back.
Okay.
So now,
Mrs. Zissing?
now we turn it over to Mr. Dallas Leonard for buildings and grounds safety.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. I'm glad I'm not the only one struggling with the glasses and the mask and everything like that over here. I would like to make a motion that we approve the revised 2021 Health and Safety Plan, a copy of which is on our website, and Mr. Inglace briefly went through that.
Second.
Question.
Okay, second by Dr. Costa, question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carried. All right.
All right.
Back to Dr. Harris.
Thank you. Next week, we're gonna ask you to approve the substitute custodians for the 2021 school year. We're gonna also ask you to approve the substitute custodian rate. Mr. Lego, what are we recommending for that?
We're recommending an increase to $12.50 an hour.
Thank you. We've been having a shortage on sub-custodians, so we wanted to improve the pay for the position. We're gonna ask you to approve the bus drivers and substitutes for the 2021 school year. Under food services, we're gonna ask you to approve the cafeteria personnel for 2021, adopt a free and reduced lunch program resolution, and approve the milk suppliers for the 2021 school year. I'll turn it back over to Mrs. Zissing.
Who's going to turn it over to Mr. Petrucci for personnel and curriculum.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to employ the following personnel. New employees contingent upon the receipt of all necessary documentation and acceptance of Act 34, 151, 114 waivers from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Sierra Lewis, English teacher at Trafford Middle School. These are all effective August 24th. Kimberly Zombeck, a grade 5 teacher at Trafford Elementary School. Felicia Frieger, special education teacher, effective at, what school is she gonna be at, Matt? McCullough? Okay, it's, all right. Nicholas Golden, physical education teacher at the senior high school. Ashley Frank, math teacher at Penn Trafford High School. Sarah Watt, grade 4 teacher at Sunrise Elementary School. Megan Coleman, grade 2 teacher at McCullough Elementary School. And salaries and their steps are as listed.
Question.
Okay, question by Mr. second by Mr. Neiman, question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carried.
That's all I have, Madam President.
All right, back to Dr. Harris.
So thank
We
you,
just
thank
pass
you.
it around.
Next week, we're gonna have a lot more, super subs and personnel to help, hire as well. Also, we're gonna ask you to designate official raters, approve teaching assignments for the 2021 school year, approve student handbooks for the 2021 school year, approve substitute teachers and support personnel for the 2021 school year, issue professional contracts, approve personnel agenda, approve a settlement agreement and release, approve early admissions, approve the ROTC agreement. We still have a couple kids kind of going back to that, which is great. And then under policy, public relations, legislative Title II, we're gonna ask you to give final approval to board policies and administrative regulations. Under taxes, insurance, census, we're gonna ask you to award the athletic sports insurance and award student accident insurance. That's all I have. This is this thing for you guys to do next week.
All right, at this point, if there's no further questions, comments, this meeting is adjourned at 8:11. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's doing,